Okay, so one of the most important things you're going to need to do before you begin adding products to your website is you're going to need to put in some product categories. Successfully planning your product categories for your website, very, very important because it's going to organize the layout of your website. Never mind the fact that it also changes the look and feel slightly and the navigation that your visitors will use when they visit your website. So I'm going to go through the initial login into the back end of the Magento web builder so that you can access your website and create categories. Now, the thing that I like to do, as I showed in some of the other videos, is I always like to use two browsers. And what you'll notice here, I have one browser that is currently located at www.pscdemo.com, and that's my demonstration website, pscdemo.com. And as you can see here, here's my demo website. This is the actual website itself. It says Rob's Store there. You can see I uploaded the logo. It says Home Page here. If we move over to the right-hand side, it's got my account, my wish list, my cart. These are all things that your visitors are going to use. They'll have an account with you. They can log in and create an account. You can create a community poll here. There's a silly poll here that says, what's your favorite color? You'll be able to put polls up and ask clients about maybe something that they would like to see you introduce. Perhaps you're thinking about coming up with or bringing in a new product line, and you could use a community poll as a way to query your visitors and your customers to find out what it is that they want to see on your website. There's no better information than information that's coming directly from your customers. Certainly want to listen to them. So I've got this one browser again up to pscdemo.com. You can see that right here. And then this is my web store. As you can see, I've got no products. I have no categories. I can tell because it just says homepage here. I've got no categories, no products. So now I'm going to show you how to create a list of categories. We're going to create 2 or 3 categories, and then we're going to be able to use this browser here located at pscdemo.com to see how the changes to the back end affect the changes to the front end, or affect how my visitors to my website are actually going to see these changes. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up a Google browser here. And I'm going to go ahead and go into the back-end administration of my website. To do that, I go to www.pscdemo.com/ADMIN. And that must be in all lowercase and then another forward slash afterwards. So whatever the name of your domain name is, you put that here. Instead of PSC Demo, it'll say John's Store or coolelectronics.com, whatever it is. And then you'll do /admin in all lowercase, just like this, and then another /. And then you simply hit the Enter key. And you wait for it to come up, and it should bring you to a login screen. So I'm going to go ahead and log in with my username that I created and my password. And I wait for the system to log me in, and it should bring us to the Magento login. Again, this is the back end of the builder, and you can tell because it says Magento admin panel up here, and here's all of these various options and menus that are available. So now I'm going to go ahead and create my very first category. Again, I want to kind of lay out and come to an understanding of what it is that I want to sell so I can create categories and then logically place my products into the categories that fit appropriately. So if I'm selling apparel, I want obviously clothing and these kind of things to go into the apparel category. If I'm selling electronics, perhaps I'll have an electronics category, and then I'll have a home electronics and an automotive electronics. Maybe I'm going to sell car stereos, speakers for car audio, amplifiers. That obviously would fit into automotive electronics. But let's say that I also want to include DVD players, surround sound systems, LCD TVs or plasma TVs. Those obviously would fit more in home electronics. So let's go ahead and use that example, and then we'll use this other browser, which is located right here, that's right at my pscdemo.com website, so that after I make the changes here to the Magento admin panel, I can open up this browser and see the changes as they are occurring and see how they affect the front end. Again, remember, when you're in the Magento admin panel, many of the changes that you do, you're not able to see. You're not able to accurately see exactly as the visitor sees it. So let's go ahead and step through the creation of an actual category. So to do that, I'll go under Catalog here, and you'll notice that there's a button that says Manage Categories. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on Manage Categories, and we wait for the category builder to come up. Okay, so here we have the category builder, and it shows over here kind of a root representation of the categories. So I'm going to start with a category called electronics, and then in the electronics category, I'm going to put two subcategories, one for automotive electronics and one for home electronics. So let's give that a try. So the first thing I do is click Add Root Category, and we wait for the system to come up. And the first thing it says is new root category. I'll move this over so you can see it all the way, and I'll slide this up a little bit. Okay, so it says new root category. So the first thing is the name. What is the name of my category? So I'm going to call it electronics. It says is active, meaning do I want the category to be displayed on my web page so that my visitors can access it? And the answer is yes, I want to do that. And wherever you see these little red stars, it indicates that this is a required field. You've got to answer this. It's very, very important. If you don't, it'll kick it back. So I'm going to go ahead and choose yes, that it's active. URL key is something for SEO. You don't have to worry about that. Thumbnail image. As you begin to make your website a little better looking and whatnot, you may want to create a little thumbnail image of perhaps some electronics or some TVs so that you can actually have a little image standing next to it. But for right now, I'm not going to do that. Now it says description. Here's where I'm going to write a brief description of what the electronics category has to offer. So I'm going to say something like our electronics category is filled with many electronic items at great prices. Again, this is just a brief description of what is inside the category. There's a button here that says WYSIWYG Editor, and WYSIWYG stands for what you see is what you get. If you want to write it in HTML, you can click this button, and a little box will pop up. Just like at Powerseller College, it'll enable you to make it bold, make changes to the font size, left justify, right justify, change the underline, color, anything. You can do that with the WYSIWYG Editor, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it at that. Now I slide on down. It has image if I want, page title, meta keywords, and meta tag description. I'm going to leave those blank. And then down here at the bottom, it says include in navigation menu. And I'm going to put yes. So now I've got the category created. To do that, I click this button up here that says save category. So I'm going to do that right now. And we wait for the system to save. And if everything worked properly, what we should see is now over here on the left-hand side where it says categories, we've got this one folder that says 0, and then there is now a category that says electronics. Now this 0 shows the total number of products that are within that category. And right now, because we're just at the creation of category stage, we don't have any actual products in it, so it makes sense why it would say 0. As you begin working on your website, moving things around, and as you begin adding products, then these numbers are going to change. So now what I want to do is I want to add two subcategories to the category of electronics. So if I click here on electronics, and then I click Add Subcategory, it's going to ask me exactly what information I want. So it's much like the category, the main category form, but the difference is it says new subcategory instead of root category. Now I'm going to slide on down. The name of my first subcategory under electronics is going to be home electronics. So I'm going to type home electronics. And then is it active? I'm going to say yes, it is active. I'm not going to use a thumbnail image. I'm going to put the very best home audio and video electronics. Again, this is just a salesy kind of a blurb that identifies some information or describes the subcategory home electronics. Then I slide on down. Again, I can put in meta keywords, meta description. Again, things that are useful when it comes to SEO. Not important right here at this time. And then down here at the bottom, including navigation menu. It's already checked yes. So now I'm ready to save it. So I go up here. I click Category Save. I wait until it says that it has been saved. As you can see up here in green, it says it has been saved. Now if I move over, what you'll notice is it says electronics 0 because there are 0 products, and then below that, this is almost like an outline format, so you'll notice it's indented slightly. So you can see that a subcategory under electronics has now been created called home electronics. To get those in and displayed on the main page, I have to put them under this first little folder that was up here at the top with a 0. So all I do is click on electronics, the top category, and I grab and I click and hold the left mouse down and I move it up to this first folder up here, and I let go, and now you see it shows electronics and home electronics. But let's take a look at now how it affects the actual website. So I've got my browser here, and again, to see any changes that I've made to the website itself as a result of working in the Magento admin panel, I need to go to my website on a separate browser, and I need to hit either the F5 key to refresh, or I can go view and refresh in my browser. So I'm going to go ahead and go view and refresh, and we wait till it loads, and what we should see is the beginning of a navigation bar. So we see here now we've got home, and then we have a new button here that says electronics, and when we move our mouse over it, we have electronics and home electronics. So now let's go ahead and add one more subcategory under electronics. We're going to call it automotive electronics, or auto or car electronics. So I click here to go back to the Magento admin panel. I click on electronics because it's going to be a subcategory under electronics, not a subcategory under home electronics. Remember, I'm creating a subcategory called auto electronics, so I'm going to put it as a subcategory under the main electronics category. So once I click there, I then click this add subcategory button, wait for it to come up, new subcategory, here it is. Move it over here so you can see that. And I'm going to click here and type auto electronics. I put it is active, yes. Slide all the way down here to the bottom under include in navigation menu, yes. Once we have both of those in, I click save category. I wait for the save category message to be displayed. The category has been displayed. And then I look over here on the left hand side under the categories, and now I've got my root. I have electronics, and then under electronics I have two subcategories, home electronics and auto electronics. Again, all these have these zeros in parentheses because this shows the total number of products that are listed under them, and I don't have any. I'm just at the stage of building my categories. But now I can go ahead and go back to my browser that is up to my website, psedemo.com, and I'm going to refresh it. Again, F5 or view refresh. So I'm going to click view and refresh, wait for it to load, and what we should now see, here we are, is home in my navigation menu, a subcategory electronics, but if I move my mouse over it, now we have home electronics and auto electronics. So now you have some understanding of how to create categories. My suggestion is that you should take totally separate types of categories and separate them by separate roots, and then put subcategories under each one to separate them. So you may have fragrances, and under fragrances you could have soaps, incense, and lotions, perhaps. Or under electronics, home electronics, car electronics, or audio and video. It's just simple ways to be able to categorize and organize your store so that it makes it more easier for the visitor to find the products that they're looking for.